Okay, I thought I'd just share something that I've come to realize. If you've got any lease machines or you've dealt with Hoshizaki pump motors, you know we're looking at around $500 to replace them. And oftentimes it's only the water seal has failed and caused the front bearing to fail. So I had a shelf full of motors and decided to see if I could rebuild the bearings. So I found out that I can do it. I just wanted to share the process. So first thing I do is take this end cap off, and then we move this impeller off the end. It sticks pretty bad, and I found it's pretty brittle, so a little WD-40 goes a long ways. I'll share the size of the bearings here shortly, just to see how this goes. So I'll just kind of shim carefully, equally both sides of the impeller. So you have to be careful because this is a brittle piece of metal here. And there's probably better tools than what I'm using, but this is what I've found to work. There we go. So I'll just set it aside. Of course, now you have to get into the impeller section. This is a, what size is this? A 7 metric socket. So you can use the same motor on KM14s and larger. You just see the housing and the impeller are different sizes, but they're interchangeable as far as the motor drive itself. And it's got a little pin in there. Okay, so we pull that pin out, and then get the front housing ready to pull off. This is a 10 metric. Some of these are more corroded than others. The old WD-40. I hope to just share with the bearing change out this episode, and then this also has water seals in it, which I'll show you later. I just want to share the bearing part of it today. Okay, so we've got all these This is really in there. That's about to come out. Normally these slip out pretty easily, so I don't know what's happened on this one, but we'll get it. So there's the water seal part of it. Okay, let's see. Sometimes that impeller will stick, and you just usually pull these apart with opposing screwdrivers, and it will push the impeller off as well as free that. Ooh. This one's going to be tough, but we'll try it. Okay. So I don't know if I'm very optimistic about this one. If you have a grinder with a brush wheel on it, it'd be nice to clean this up on that. I don't have one with me. So let's take this over here. Okay, so I'm fixing to, through tapping action, drive this housing, this part of the motor up. I've got a 4x4 block here that I use if it's very, very difficult, because you don't want to damage this end shaft, but it's pretty good quality of stainless. So just even small taps, and there we go. Okay, let me take it back over here. I usually inspect the armature and rotor, and that's in good shape. So here's our bearings. And I'll pull this off with it. Normally the rear bearing's in pretty good shape. This front bearing is normally what is the problem. I'll share the sizes of the bearings. This is, of course, the water seal kit that you get from Hoshizaki. That's going to be the later. There's two size bearings. The front bearing, which is normally bad, is a 6200Z, which is a 10 millimeter by 30 millimeter sealed ball bearing. The smaller bearing, the rear bearing, is a 629ZZ, 629ZZ, and you can get that online. So I just get my, okay, cut. Okay. You can cut it. Okay, so probably could get by with this a two-sided bearing puller, but I've got a three-prong puller here. So there's that bearing. This is where the water seal is going to go back on, and of course I'll clean all that up real well later, but I'm just wanting to share this part of the job. So it's got a stop retainer there, and so we'll get our 62Z bearing. started. And I'll just take it over to the vise and gently press it. It's seated well. So I'm going to repeat the process on the rear bearing and then we'll reassemble. Okay, so you know, normally you would brush all this out and have it real clean. I'll do it later, but I just wanted to show you. So we've got the bearings installed. We've got the bearing receiver at the end of the motor housing. We're just going to slip that rotor in. This, fortunately, isn't real clean, but we'll slip it on. And then I just come over here. I've got a little hole here. And I just need to repress the motor. Again, I'll clean all that up. So we'll put the impeller back. We'll put the water seals on. We'll put the front pump housing on. Anyway, that's a $500 motor. You know, you don't want to resell it to a customer, but if you have a lease fleet of machines or anything of your own use, it saves you a lot of money. Okay, thanks.